Hey, what's up, world, and welcome to the 77th edition of the Take One podcast. I am your host, August C. Jones here, and we got quite a few things to touch on this episode. Some stuff that had came out recently from like last week, from the last podcast all the way to this week, as well as I'm going to be going over the box office as I usually do every week. And then I'm going to be getting to what dominated April and May of this year, talking about the movies and everything else. And probably on my next podcast, I might do what dominated June, since that just passed. And I know I'm going to do one where I'm overlooking basically the past 3 months from June back, May, April, and June or whatever. And then I'm going to be doing the first half, talking about the first half movie, I guess you could say, in review, I guess you could say, and just looking back, just seeing how this year fared so far as movies go. But like I said, I got quite a few things that I'm gonna talk about on this episode, and I'm gonna try and get through them because it is a lot of things. So first off, we're going to talk about the Black Widow movie that has been announced by Disney. Now, if you guys have been paying attention lately, I say ever since like last year, I want to say that it was brought up by Kevin Feige. He said that he had it in his mind that he was a big advocate of doing like a Black Widow movie. And me being who I am, I can see basically, I guess you could say, as far as like, just looking at it, I'm thinking like, man, they should have done this a while back. They shouldn't have waited till they got this late in the game as far as, Marvel with the, movies that they've been doing now and having Wonder Woman come out first. Like, Marvel should have been first at the chopping block to, release a female-led movie that was highly successful, especially with the success of the Black Widow character. But I've told people before years back that like I would love to see a Black Widow movie. I ain't gonna say I was clamoring for like a Hawkeye film, but I wouldn't mind seeing one because I know that Marvel will probably make it really good. I wouldn't mind seeing the movie where it's like either a Black Widow film with Hawkeye in it, or doing like an Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. type movie where it's Hawkeye and Black Widow as the lead characters. Something like that. Make it something similar to like how Captain America and Winter Soldier was. I wouldn't be like opposed to that. And so with basically from what I hear is that it hasn't been put on the books, like it's not official. They haven't came out and officially said that this is being made. But I mean, just looking at it, that they already got a director for it, and basically all this stuff is going in motion. More than likely, it's going to come to fruition. Because when you look at Marvel and what they're doing, they're not a company that often takes stuff off the the slate. I mean, if they do, we probably don't know about it, or it's very little. The only movie that I can really say that they took off the slate that they did have on there was the Inhumans movie. Other than that, movies would get moved around, switched or whatever, or maybe changed, the title or, just what it's about and everything else. But as far as it actually being taken off, is not. So, when they put something in motion, put it out there in the universe for us to hear and for us to do, for our knowledge, it usually is going to come to fruition. So I guess you can say this is an unofficial, official, basically us telling that this movie is going to be made. I mean, it hasn't been, more than likely because Comic-Con is right around the corner, like literally right around the corner, not even that far away from it. And more than likely it's going to be, given that it's coming out, they're going to come out with a release date and everything else. And, this is official. This is the official slate. So looking forward to that. They already got a director, Kate Shortland. And they basically did a process where they talked to like 70 directors and everything else for like basically like a half a year, and all this stuff just to find this one director. So they're not about to go through the trouble of going through and talking to several, like 70 directors or maybe even more than that, of trying to find a director for a movie that may or may not happen. This is happening. This is happening. We haven't gotten a new slate of Marvel films from Marvel. We got certain dates or whatever, like Spider-Man, Far From Home, and Guardians of the Galaxy 3 and stuff like that. But we haven't got like 10 movies and these are the years is coming out and these are the dates. We haven't gotten that yet, but I mean, it's needless to say that this movie is going to be done. And when they do it, I mean, I'm not opposed to it. I know a lot of people don't care for it. A lot of people think that they shouldn't waste their time on a person like Black Widow, that she is better served as a companion character, like an Avengers movie, or she's in the Captain America movie or Iron Man movie, just opposite of a main character like Iron Man or a Thor or something like that. But when it comes to it, it's like, she is a big character in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Why shouldn't she get her own movie? The only thing that I'm kind of against with this movie is that it's set in the past. Now, I've said before, I don't know, I believe I said it on the podcast before, where I wouldn't be opposed to a Black Widow movie at all. Like I just said, I wouldn't be opposed to it at all. But only if they did it in it takes place in the present. And then maybe she has flashbacks. Maybe the mission that she's on has ties to her past. So every time she comes across somebody in her past, or, she does something, and she kind of has these memories of basically what happened to her back then. We don't really need an origin story of Black Widow. That's the only thing that turns me off about it. If we have something that takes place after Avengers Infinity War, and after Avengers 4, I'll be just fine. Like, I think that's where they should take it. Making it like a prequel origin story. It just, I don't know. I mean, more than likely it's going to be good, but I think that they should just keep on to the future. I mean, put that for somebody else, but I mean, the first Black Widow movie, we don't need a straight origin story. Make it present with flashbacks to the past. That's it. That's all we really need. But, I mean, it's whatever. And so, moving on to the next thing in movie news, I forgot to announce that this is the segment in movie news. The first poster for the Aquaman movie has came out. And so, how does it look? I don't know. I like it. It's nothing crazy. It's nothing like, oh my God, this is the best poster ever. But I like it. I mean, I've seen one that was actually pretty funny, where they got the shark from Finding Nemo in back of Aquaman. But basically, it's just, you got him sitting on a rock with his trident. And then you have killer whales in the back, sharks, and, just basically coming for him. And I think it's manta rays, and I think that's about it. Maybe a few other things, but it looks like there is somewhat of like a city behind them, Atlantis, obviously. I mean, it's nothing really, spectacular about it. It's a nice visual. It shows a lot. It basically says a lot. And that's what a poster is supposed to do when you're putting out a poster of a movie. It's supposed to say a lot about the movie. This says a lot without saying all that it can say. You put it like this. So, I mean, it's an okay poster. It's an okay poster. Hopefully they come out with something more major that makes, a way better poster, but this is okay. This is okay. As far as, I mean, everything else, it says home is calling, so you can kind of tell that this is taking place after the events of Justice League, because we had that little brief scene, which I believe was supposed to be a longer scene as far as him in Atlantis and just everything. It wasn't supposed to be as quick as it was. It was supposed to be, more, but even that little scene where he was talking with Amber Heard's character, it was kind of like a lead up into what we're supposed to get out of, Aquaman movie. So, I mean, it's okay poster. It's an okay poster. It's okay. It ain't blowing my, knocking my socks off or anything. But also, another poster had came out. So we got our first look from basically the movie Godzilla, King of Monsters. And it's another poster that's just okay, you know. It really doesn't. There's nothing really much to say about it. You see Godzilla in far away shooting up his radioactive fire into the air, and he look like he's standing in water. Yeah, he's standing in water, and the picture is bluish, almost the same color as an Aquaman, poster. But I mean, it's really nothing. I mean, I don't know what. I mean, I guess it's okay. I guess, but when it comes down to it, it really doesn't show anything. Now, if it was something to where you saw like Godzilla in the city facing the monster that he's going to, well, one of the monsters that he's going against up in this new movie, it's like, then that's saying something. Because not only do we get a closer look at Godzilla, but a new look, the first look at one of the monsters that he's facing. So I don't know, it's okay. And so with that, moving on to the next thing, Zombieland 2 is coming out next year. So they already announced that they're going to have the full cast come back, meaning Jesse Eisenberg, Emma Stone, what's the girl name, hello sister, something Breslin, I don't know, Emily Breslin, I think that's the name, I think that is. And then you got Woody Harrelson all coming back, as well as new human survivors. And it's supposed to basically it's supposed to take place 10 years after the events of the first Zombieland film. And it's supposed to have new monsters, evolved zombies and stuff like that. So that sparked my interest from there. As well as the same director and writers are coming back to, take control of this. And I'm excited. I mean, I wasn't as dumbfounded, crazy as everybody else was with the Zombieland movie. I did like it a lot. I really did. But I mean, I wouldn't mind. Like, I mean, shit. Zombieland 2. Okay, let's see what this is about. And it's supposed to be going into production January 2019, and it's supposed to come out October 2019. So. You can tell that this doesn't really have too big of a budget, and it doesn't really have that much to it. It's one of the maybe lower, what is it? The lower budget films, and I mean, I don't have no problem with that. If they can do a lot with less, that's awesome. That's really awesome, because that would show that if the movie is really good, let's say they made this movie for about $55 million. I mean, when you look at movies, besides if it's like a horror film or something like that, 45 to 55 million. Let's say that. And this movie is really good, and it boosts, and it basically makes over 60 something over the weekend, or maybe even close to 100 over the weekend, over his first opening debut weekend or whatever. Then, hell, I mean, they did their job. But I am looking forward to it. It's not a movie that I'm just sitting here gonna pass up or whatever. I'm really looking forward to it. And so let's move on to the next thing in the movie news. This has half movie news and half not. But since half of it is in the movie news, I can count it as movie news. I'm gonna just talk about the other side. So Rugrats is being renewed. Well, not renewed, but I guess you could say remade, rebooted, or whatever. And basically, Nickelodeon has greenlit it for 26 episodes, with no release date though. But it's also getting a live action movie that has live action CG movie, and it will be released November 13th, 2020. Now, when it says CG movie live action, I seriously hope that means something like a Charlie Brown type movie, or something like, Pixar, of that nature. I hope it's not nothing with having real babies and maybe having their lips move or whatever, and then acquiring, basically putting CG elements around it. I hope that it's animated, basically digital animated. I hope that that's what it means. If it's not, because I would be like, what are you guys doing? What are you guys doing? Just renew the show, and that's it. And as far as the show, I don't really, I mean, don't get me wrong. When I was younger, when I was a kid, Rugrats used to be my favorite show. Used to be my favorite show. I love that. I loved Rugrats. I mean, of course, as it got further down the line, they added, I think, the new character Kimmy, which was Chucky's half sister, or stepsister. I think, yeah, stepsister. It was like, yeah, but I mean, it's like, I don't know, like, I mean, I guess, kids can like it, of this generation. They can like it, like my son, or kids that's younger or whatever. They probably could like the show. It's not something that I'm about to be sitting down like, oh, Rugrats, I loved it, I'm about to watch this new shit. No, it's gonna come out. I may check it out and just see how they do it, but I mean, whatever. I mean, with all these shows being revived, not even just cartoons, because you get the horrible remake of, or reboot of, Thundercats. I mean, I'm saying horrible as far as just them taking a serious type of show. I mean, it was corny and cliche or whatever when it came out, but it was still had its seriousness to basically turn into Adventure Time, but you got all these shows that's being remade and into a newer style. Powerpuff Girls was more recent or whatever, and then you got live action with Roseanne and everything else, and I think they're planning on bringing other shows, but that's basically the new thing. And so I'm not surprised by it. I mean, I'll check it out, see what it's like, but it's not something I'm clamoring for. As far as the movie, like I said, the only thing that I'm really worried about is if it's kind of like Baby Geniuses. Yeah, I know that will put a big red sign and horrible image in you guys' mind. But I just hope there's no Baby Geniuses. I hope that they make it a Pixar, digital animated type film, But yes, that ends movie news, which we would jump right quick into trailer reviews. So recently, the first trailer to Overlord has been released. And for those who don't know what Overlord is, so Overlord, I guess, is supposed to be a connection to the Cloverfield universe. So at first you had Cloverfield, and then you had 10 Cloverfield Lane, and then you had the Cloverfield Paradox, which came out earlier this year, and now this movie is Overlord. Now this movie is supposed to have some type of connection to it. If you've seen the Cloverfield Paradox, then you probably know of the connection. And even if you didn't get it from just watching the movie, you probably had to go online and have somebody explain it. But it has a whole bunch of deeper roots and connections and stuff that you probably have to go on the internet in order to make those real big connections. But this is supposed to have a connection with it. And this is spoilers. Because I can't really talk about it, without giving somewhat of a spoiler. So if you haven't seen the Cloverfield movies and you're planning on seeing it, then this is kind of a spoiler. But if you haven't seen the Cloverfield Paradox yet and you don't really know, or just whatever, then I'm just letting you guys know that this is right now going to be a spoiler, kind of like touching the spoiler territory. But basically, from the Cloverfield Paradox is showing that because of what they did in the movie, it basically interrupted certain timelines. That because they went into this other alternate dimension of our universe, or this other universe, or whatever, parallel universe, put it like this, because it went into this parallel universe and everything that happened with that, it caused changes in other, universes and other timelines and stuff like that. So basically every single movie doesn't exist within the same timeline. The first Cloverfield movie basically happens in a different timeline than 10 Cloverfield Lane, and Cloverfield Paradox happens in another timeline, and I'm guessing this one happens in another timeline as well. So more than likely, overlords, just like basically we were given the information in we're not going in the Cloverfield paradox, was that basically this more than likely is going to happen. Everything that's happening up in Overlords or Overlord is a result of what happened in 10 Cloverfield Lane because of the messing up of the timeline. So that's basically what you can kind of gather from it, really. And it looks just like a flat out zombie type of film. You know, it looks like it's just, I mean, and I think that's what I've kind of like expected from. I think I heard that like a while back. It's kind of like a zombie type flick or whatever. It reminds me, when I think about it, didn't Call of Duty or something like that come out with like a game that was just like older times and he had to deal with zombies, you know, during like World War One or World War Two. I don't know, like I'm maybe I'm tweaking. Maybe it was just like one of the like the zombie portions and stuff a part of the game, but that's what it puts me in the mind frame of. But the trailer overall, I was feeling it in the beginning, especially when it got to the scene where the black guy saw the door open and he started moving toward it, and it was like, okay, this is cool. But then it started kicking in that music, and it's like, okay, is this supposed to be a B movie? You know, it just the trailer, the music threw me off with the trailer. From the trailer, I don't know if it's supposed to be a Resident Evil type of horror film where it's supposed to be action horror, or if it's just supposed to be a straight horror film but it has action elements in it. I don't know. Like, I'm confused, you know, and it's just the trailer just really set it off. Like, if that was just something to get people aboard, I don't know if people are going to be really into trying to go check this out. A person like me that sees movies a lot, I'm probably going to, I'm going to go check it out anyway, you know. But when it comes to like the average moviegoer, that's not a trailer I don't think really grab people, you know. You need something that's going to put them in the mind frame of, oh, I got to see this movie. And that is just, oh, that, you know, and basically the trailer just put me in the mind frame of a movie that will come out on DVD, the VOD streaming or whatever. It just doesn't seem like a movie that'll come out in theaters. So I don't know, but I mean, the trailer overall is just, you know, it could have been better. Hopefully, the second trailer that they have for it is way better and it actually fits whatever the tone is. And hopefully, that's not the tone for the film that we got in this first trailer, but it's whatever. And so that ends trailer reviews. So let's go ahead and jump right into the box office segment, which I am going to be talking about the movies that came out over the weekend, what dominated the weekend, what movies are coming out, and my predictions for this coming weekend. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into it. So coming in at number one, first of all, let's go ahead and look at my predictions. So I was surprised and I was happy to know that I got 5 for 5. So my predictions was Hotel Transylvania 3 at number 1, Ant-Man and the Wasp number 2, Skyscraper at number 3, Incredibles 2 at number 4, and Jurassic Fallen Kingdom at number 5. So coming in at number 1 this past weekend was Hotel Transylvania 3, Summer Vacation, which over the weekend brought in 44 million domestically, 50 million, and worldwide 103 million. Ant-Man and the Wasp came in at number 2, 29 million over the weekend domestically, brought in 136 million, and worldwide 287 million. Skyscraper came in at number 3, with over the weekend bringing in 24 million. If it brought in 200 and something over the weekend, that's crazy. And domestically did 27 million, and worldwide 67 million. And then we have Incredibles 2. Over the weekend did 16.2 million. Domestically 538 million. And then worldwide 860 million. Then rounding off the top 5 is Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, which over the weekend did 16.1 million. Then domestically 366 million. And worldwide is at 1.1 billion. And that rounds off the top 5 movies over the weekend, and what stands out to me? Well, as I basically predicted, really, that's how everything. I mean, it's no surprise. It's no surprise. I guess you could say somewhat of the thing that kind of. Well, I guess you could say it kind of stood out, but it kind of didn't. But you know what? It didn't stand out. Let's just put it like that. The reason why I put Skyscraper at number 3 is that it just doesn't seem like a movie that pops out to people. You know, it doesn't seem like a movie that will pop out to the average moviegoer. You know, I haven't seen too many crazy advertisements for it. I mean, I have seen it or whatever on TV every now and then, or when you're on YouTube, when a movie's coming out, you're starting to see more ads to it. When you're watching the movie, when you're watching your YouTube video and stuff like that, and part of the apocalypse and everything else. But I mean, I didn't think that was going to hit number 1. I really didn't. I was surprised that I was right about it. I guess you could say that's the one thing that stood out, is that I was surprised because that movie had the potential to be above Ant-Man, to at least be a number 2, because it's not that far when you look at it from the weekend from Ant-Man, because Ant-Man came in and did 29 million over the weekend, and this movie did 24 million over the weekend. So I don't know, it's kind of crazy. But overall, I mean, nothing really stood out. I got 5 for 5. So, I mean, shit. I mean, if it was totally different, then, I probably would have had a lot stood out for me. But, I mean, it's whatever. So, let's go ahead and jump right into what is coming out this weekend. So, we have 3 movies that are coming out this weekend. 2 of them that I am very interested in seeing. 1 of them I don't care at all on seeing. This is one of those movies that I would just completely skip out on. But... okay, so first of all, the movie The Equalizer 2 is coming out. Denzel Washington is coming back. He finds himself doing Uber and doing the Equalizer stuff on the side like he usually do whenever it calls for it. Someone that he knows get murdered, and so now he's going on basically a rampage to find out who did it and why, and if he can snap a few necks along the way, he's going to do it. This movie looks like it's going to be good. I don't know if it's going to be better than the first one. I can barely remember the first one because it's been a long time since I've seen it. I know it had Chloe Moretz up in there, and I know it had to do with like a Russian mob or something like that. But I mean, I don't know. It looks like it's going to be good. It looks like it's going to be a fun time at the theater. So I'm really looking forward to seeing it. And then next you have Unfriended 2, or just Unfriended Dark Web, which is basically the sequel to the first, Unfriended movie. If you've seen it, just about a girl who dies and she's getting revenge on the people that wronged her and during her life and stuff. And the whole movie takes place in front of a computer screen where people are Skyping, where the friends are Skyping each other, and each one of them are getting killed off, and certain secrets are coming to to the light. This one takes place in a similar type of situation where you have friends on Skype and they're basically talking to each other the whole movie, and that's basically what the whole movie is about. But this time it doesn't have a supernatural feel to it, which was kind of odd. But I mean, I guess you could say I like it, like the way that they did it. But it's revolving around a guy who has a laptop that he found, and so he's basically going through it, and he sees that it's connected to the dark web, and then him and his friends that are connected on Skype end up finding out that the person that owns it is watching everything that they're doing, and that they have a whole, guess you could say, audience watching along too. And so basically the same thing happened. They're getting killed off one by one. And so the third movie on the list that's coming out this weekend is Mamma Mia, Here We Go Again. A movie that I didn't really care on seeing the first one, and really damn sure don't care on seeing this one. I have nothing against this movie. I know the whole thing kind of like fits this whole situation of don't knock it until you try it. But this isn't a movie that I will find myself watching. Now, if I am at home and I'm like, I want to go to the show, and I don't want to see a movie that I've already seen before, let me go see, Mamma Mia, Here We Go Again. Because at one time this year, what is it? Forever My Girl was a movie that I really didn't care on seeing. But then I was like bored at home, and I'm like, I should go see it, but it was already out of theaters, and I felt the same way about 50 Shades Freed, but it was already out of theaters, and it was just like, okay, cool, whatever. That saves me, the headache. But I don't know. This is the movie that I really am not interested in. So just basically, I guess you could say, somewhat of a prequel. The daughter is pregnant, and then she basically finds out about when her mother was pregnant with her, and how the whole situation about the first film, how that became to be. And I don't know, like, the first movie on the list that I'm dying to see is The Equalizer 2. I will say Unfriended, Dark Web will be the second one that will be on the list for me to watch. These look crazy. And like I was saying, like with Dark Web, I like the whole thing that they went from, I guess you could say, an anthology that has the same premise. I don't know how long this premise can go on for, as far as, Skype friends on there and stuff is happening to them, and that's just basically the whole movie. But I don't know, like, I kind of like how they went from something supernatural in the first film to something, natural in this film, something that can actually happen. And, when you think of, like, the first film, it's kind of creepy or whatever. But then when you think of this scenario about the dark web, and if you know anything about the dark web, you know how crazy it is. If you don't look it up, I wouldn't suggest going on there unless you know exactly what you're doing. But even then, people can get caught up in some crazy stuff. If you don't know what the dark web is, go look it up and just see what it's all about. But this looks like something that can actually happen. That's why if you see a laptop or a tablet or something sitting on a bench, if you're going to take it, sell it. Make some money off of it. Give that heartache to somebody else, because you don't want to open it and then find all this crazy stuff and then find the person that hit a locator in the thing, and then they're going to find you, and it's just whatever. But yeah, I don't know. Like, I kind of like that whole aspect. So it's kind of like an anthology thing that's going on with this, but I mean, it's cool. And so with that, let's go ahead and wrap up the weekend box office segment, and get into my predictions. So my predictions. Now, I may end up being wrong on this one. But I am going to basically go balls out. So number one, that's going to top the number one spot over this weekend is going to be Equalizer 2. It had mass popularity among a lot of people. I mean, it wasn't as crazy as that, but it gained as much as, I guess you could say, John Wick. Even John Wick is like a little bit more, known. But the Equalizer, I say, is almost close to that. Just, I guess you could say, it's on the same level as Taken, So I feel like a lot of people are going to support this, as well as Denzel Washington. And it's a black lead. A black dude is kicking ass. So I believe this is going to take the number one spot. I believe that Hotel Transylvania 3 is going to drop down to number 2. Number 3 is going to be Mamma Mia. I don't know if I know that there's an audience for this type of film. That's why I didn't drop it down to number 5 or 4. But I don't think it's going to top Ant-Man and the Wasp. Now, I could be totally wrong, but I haven't seen a crazy amount of advertisement for this movie as much as the Equalizer 2. So I don't think that this movie is going to be a crazy big success. Though it may end up bringing some money, or it probably might end up blowing out my expectations for it. I don't think it's going to be at number 1. And then number 4, you're going to have Ant-Man and the Wasp. And then number 5 is going to be Skyscraper. So that's my top 5 predictions. Equalizer 2 at number 1. Hotel Transylvania 3 at number 2. That's kind of okay. Mamma Mia, Here We Go Again at number 3. Ant-Man and the Wasp at number 4. And Skyscraper at number 5. So that ends the box office segment. And let's go ahead and jump into what dominated April and May of this year. So basically, my predictions for before April even began was that Avengers: Infinity War was going to basically be the top one of the top five highest grossers, and then A Quiet Place is going to be after it. Rampage is going to be number three. Truth or Dare was going to be number four, and Chappaquiddick was going to be number five. So let's go ahead and look at the things. So what dominated April? So we get all the movies that came out in April, all the big movies that came out in April. We have Blockers. Blockers, it did, hold on, I lost my place. Blockers domestically brought in 59.8 million and worldwide brought in 93 million. Chappaquiddick did domestically with no worldwide release, so I guess you could say, whatever, but domestically brought in 17.9 million. The Miracle Season movie domestically did 10.2 million. A Quiet Place domestically did 187 million. 187 on the undercover. No, anyway, but in worldwide brought in 332 million. Beru, I think that's how you pronounce it. Beru, Beruit. Beru. I don't know. I have that on DVD right now. I need to watch that. But that movie brought in 5 million domestically and worldwide 6.8 million. Rampage brought in domestically 99 million and worldwide 425 million. Now, Sergeant Stubby, An American Hero, domestically brought in 3.1 million. Truth or Dare, domestically 40 million, worldwide 92 million. I Feel Pretty, domestically 48 million, worldwide 88 million. And then we got Super Troopers 2, domestically 30.6 million. Traffic, domestically 9.1 million, worldwide 9.4 million. And Avengers: Infinity War, 676 million domestically, worldwide 2 billion fucking dollars. So let's look at everything. I know that was kind of loud on that one, but let's look at everything. So my predictions were kind of off. They were. So I already knew without a shadow of a doubt, without even thinking about it, without hesitation, was Avengers: Infinity War taking the number one spot. I thought A Quiet Place was going to be number two, but obviously it was Rampage, and A Quiet Place took it at number three. Blockers came in at number four, which, what was my number four? Truth or Dare. I thought Truth or Dare was going to be at number four, but Blockers surprisingly came in at number four. And Truth or Dare came in at number five. Not that much, under it, because Blockers did 93 million worldwide, and Truth or Dare did 92 million. So it wasn't that far off. But Chappaquiddick, I don't know. That was one of those movies that I thought that, a lot of people, it'd be under the radar, but it ended up making a whole crazy amount of money, but it didn't. So I don't know if a lot of people really saw it, because it's just whatever. It was one of those movies where, I just wanted to check it out, see what it was. But, so I guess I was off by a movie. Yeah, I was just off by a movie. But other than that, my predictions were close. But then let's go ahead and jump into May. So what dominated May? So my May domination predictions was Deadpool 2 was going to be at number one. Solo: A Star Wars Story was going to be at number two. Breaking In was going to be at number three. Overboard number four. Life of the Party at number five. So what actually did come in at number five? So what actually did come in the top five? We got Bad Samaritan. Worldwide, 3.4 million. Overboard, 50 million domestically. Worldwide, did 90 million. Tully, domestically, 9.2 million. Worldwide, did 14 million. Breaking In, domestically, 46 million. Worldwide, 49 million. Then we have Life of the Party, 52 million. World is 64 million. Book Club, 67 million domestically. Deadpool 2, 316 million domestically, worldwide 731 million. And then Show Dogs, 17 million Domestically, worldwide, 33 million. Solo: A Star Wars Story. Domestically, 201 million. Well, 211 million. Wow. And worldwide is 384 million. So, what were the top 5 highest grossers? Deadpool 2, which I guessed because of just what Deadpool 1 did. Solo: A Star Wars Story, I knew it was going to come in at number 2. I didn't think it was going to be number 1 because I've already said it in the previous podcast. No one was clamoring for this. No one wanted to see a origin story for how Han Solo got his name and blah blah blah. Number 3, I thought it was going to be Breaking In just because it's kind of like a black film and it got some familiar people up in there. But nah, Overboard did number 3. Life of the Party came in at number 4, which I thought it was going to be at number 5. And then, Overboard was actually basically the 2 that I got for number 4 and number 5 actually put them up one number. And then Book Club rounded off the top 5, which I didn't think was going to do it, but apparently it's a good movie or a good enough movie to be in the top 5 highest grossers of the month of May. So I mean, it's whatever. I was off on my predictions, even though I was right with my predictions for this past weekend. But yeah, I mean, those are the movies that dominated April and May. And so my next one, I will be talking about what dominated June and everything else. And then soon I'm going to be going over what dominated July, but not before this month is over. And also I'm going to be talking about what movies I think will dominate August. Not me, but the month of August. And so with that said, that go ahead and that wraps up this Take One podcast, episode 77. Now with San Diego Comic-Con. I'm about to say Comic-Con San Diego. I guess it don't matter, but San Diego Comic-Con being right around the corner, I might end up having another podcast out sometime this week. Maybe I just might keep everything else or whatever, but I'm probably going to try to have like a lot of just reactions, quick takes and stuff, since Comic-Con is officially starting tomorrow. I am going to have a lot of it up and whatever. And I might end up just saving everything else for the, podcast I'm going to have next week. I'm going to try and have it out Monday so that I will be close to, the weekend and everything else, so they're not too far off. But yeah, so that's it. That wraps up this episode, and I will catch you guys on the next one. Peace out, and thanks for joining. Hey, before you guys leave, make sure you hit that like button as well as that subscribe button. And you see that little bell? Make sure you hit that to turn on your notifications. That way you'll be notified for anything that appears on my channel. Hope to see you guys next time. Peace out.